Hey guys, glad to stop by. So, do you remember a couple weeks ago, I might have been longer than that, I had talked about how I gotten this new vacuum seal piece of equipment this year. And I've been playing with it a lot. I predominantly bought it for my herbs, you know, all my dry stuff. Because I have, literally a collection of spices that is endless. Because I do so much cooking and baking, and I like to dabble in different countries and their food, so we keep a lot of spices on hand, and a lot of different seeds to grind, things like that. But anyhow, I started using this to vacuum seal my spices. That way I can keep them in mason jars in bulk and not take up freezer space, and keep them fresh forever, because there's no air. So that's awesome. But it also led me down a rabbit hole of kind of like pantry staples. I don't know, for lack of a better word, but things that you could put your dry ingredients together with in order to eventually make a meal by adding just a few things you don't want to put in that container. And the first one I saw, which I still would like to do a video on, was the different versions of copycat hamburger helper, so to speak, but putting all the dry stuff in a jar and then just adding water to it, so that way you have a quick, easy meal. Water and a couple other things, but for the most part, just water. But that way you have a quick, easy meal for those nights that you either just don't feel like cooking. Very similar to our canning process of doing the chicken a la king or the beef and mushrooms, things of that nature, but it's on the dry end. And you can just fry up your meat and then throw that stuff in. Quick and easy without all the preservatives and additives that come with it. Well, that led me to what we're going to do today, and that is cream of anything soup. And I was going to do cream of mushroom, which I'm going to show you how to make a cream of mushroom at the end of this, but I was going to do just all cream of mushroom, but this makes a lot. A whole lot. So cream of anything is much better, because that gives you the basis of any of the cream of whatever soups. All you have to do is add the whatever. So whether it be mushroom, asparagus, cheddar, chicken, cheese, it's just anything. If it's a cream of potato, it's there. Cream of shrimp, if you want a creamy shrimp soup, right here. It's here, it's there, it's ready for you to use. And I even looked at the cost of making this versus buying each individual can, and this one recipe, which is going to fill almost 2 quart jars, will make 15 cans of condensed soup. And we're going to do it for about $7.50, and then whatever the cost of what you're buying to put in it. So 15 jars of cream of whatever for $7, we'll say $9 total if you add in what you're making. That's only roughly 9 cans at the store, so you're doubling your amount for half the price. That's awesome. But anyhow, if you're new, welcome. If you are returning or one of our new subscribers, welcome back and thank you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Comments always welcomed. I respond to all of them in some form or manner, and I encourage commenting. All I ever ask is you be nice, be polite. It's okay to disagree, just think before you type. That being said, I will give you all your measurements in cups, tablespoons, teaspoons, along with grams and milliliters when applicable, to that way everybody can play along, right? No matter where you're at, because there are more grams and milliliter users than there are cups, tablespoons, teaspoons. And the accuracy level is amazingly better with those two. But anyhow, depending on the day, it depends on what I use here at home personally. But let's get started on this, all right? Hold on for me 1 second. Okay, we are down here at the countertop. So first thing, the only thing we're gonna need at the moment is one bowl, preferably a large bowl. And in this bowl, we're gonna start with 4 cups of powdered milk. Now I'm using no fat powdered milk. Use whatever powdered milk you like. Whether it be no fat, all fat, low fat. I just know where I shop at, all they have is low fat powder, so that's what we got. And I've got 4 cups, 360 grams worth of powdered milk in our bowl, right? And to this, I am going to add 1.5 cups, 180 grams of cornstarch, and I'm actually going to use my scale just because that is not big enough to put a 1 cup measuring cup down in there. But like I said, I know it's 180 grams and I have a scale, so I'll just go ahead and get my 180 grams in the container here. Okay, now that we got our cornstarch in there, I'm just going to add a half a cup, just a plain old half a cup, 85 grams worth of chicken powder. And let me tell you about this chicken powder. I've had this for I can't tell you how long. Almost as long as me and Chris have been together. There is no expiration date on it as long as you keep it dry and in a cool place. And when you take the lid off, smell it, visually look at it. There's nothing growing in there, and it smells just fine. It is good. It is a forever shelf-stable food. So I'm gonna go ahead and get a half a cup of this. Like I said, 85 grams, and we're gonna go ahead and get that on in here. Now, before you get me with the whole Brian, that is chicken, right? And we're making it anything. You cannot taste it. I know this because I've already made one batch and made some cream of mushroom to make sure I knew what I was talking about when it came to the stovetop portion of this program. And you cannot taste that chicken flavor. All it does is enrich the flavors that you put in it. It's absolutely awesome. So the next thing we want to put in here is 4 teaspoons of dried onion. So we'll just go ahead and that is 10 grams worth of minced dried onion. And we'll go 1, 2, 3, and they don't have to be dead on even teaspoons. So I mean 10 grams could be 12 grams, could be, you know, because we're not cooking this, we're not water bathing it. We don't have to worry about bacteria growing in it when it's sealed because it's all dry goods, which is, that in itself is awesome. So the next thing we need to add to this is 2 teaspoons of dried basil, right, like such. I know it sounds like it's weird, but it works. Yeah, like I said, I've already made a batch, and I wasn't against making a second batch just because it lasts forever. Then we need 2 teaspoons of crushed dried thyme, which feel free to add or subtract any spices that you like. I mean, you may not like thyme, don't have to put it in there. You may not like basil, don't have to do that either. But add what you like in spices into your cream of whatever, and it'll work. And then the last thing we need to put in here is 1 teaspoon of pepper. And that is it, really. It's the most awesomest, easiest thing ever. So we'll go ahead, let me get my scale out of the way. And we just gotta take our whisk and we're gonna whisk this together right quick. Okay, so we got all our dry goods mixed up. The only thing we have left to do to store them is put them in jars. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these into the quart jars, and there's no rhyme or reason to how much you can put in them. Or you don't even have to put them in quart jars if you wouldn't like. These would make great gifts for family or friends, I mean, for that matter. You know, holidays, birthdays, things like that. Or just to say, hey, missed you. Here, have some stuff that's easy to make. And, you know, as a young person, I thought that would be stupid, but as an older person, I get it. I would be very appreciative of something like that. Only because you took the time to think of me to give it to me. And it's made with love, right? So, anyhow, into these jars. All right, so we got them into the jars. The last thing we need to do, I mean, if you don't have a vacuum sealer, put the lid on it, twist it tight, and label it, right? What is it? It would be anything, cream of anything soup, and write the date on it. Now, this is good for, I mean, in theory, a lifetime, right? If you don't want to put it in your shelf, or you don't have jars, or you don't want to simply put it on, you know, into jars, you can just use the Ziploc baggie to put it into, and then seal it tight and put it in your freezer. It's in your freezer, especially like even just powdered milk. Put it in your freezer, it's good forever. You can stick it right next to your yeast for your bread. But I'm gonna go ahead and vacuum seal these up real quick, and then when I come back, we'll show you how to make this. All right, now that I got those jars filled, we are gonna go ahead and make a batch of this. So all we need is 3 things, for the most part. It's 3 things. So the first thing we're gonna put into here is gonna be 1/3 of a cup of our powder mix, just like such. Now, the reason why I tested this recipe earlier, and I didn't write down the grams on this, so I will probably have either put them right here now or as we go, and I'll definitely have them down in the description in the recipe below. So 1/3 of a cup. The reason why I tried this earlier is I wanted to make sure that it would make 1 can of condensed whatever, and it does. But to make that 1 can of condensed whatever, so like if you're cooking with it, you have that. It is 1/3 a cup of your cream of anything. We're gonna throw that in a bowl. 1/4 cup of whatever you're gonna, or 1/2 cup of whatever you're gonna use. But here's where it gets a little tricky, I think. If I'm doing mushrooms, if I have fresh mushrooms, it's 1/2 cup. But I have dried mushrooms, right? We have dehydrated mushrooms in our case. So, and I remember somebody asking a question, would dehydrated work? And I don't remember if the person had an answer or not, but I did read somewhere that somebody said it wouldn't work. Well, I'm here to tell you they're wrong. Just don't use 1/2 cup of dehydrated mushrooms, use 1/4 cup, and you will be just fine. A few more in there. But I'll leave it down in the description below, but there is literally a list of things you can put in this, and everything is 1/2 cup. So it's mushrooms, asparagus, shrimp, broccoli, potato, cheese, celery, chicken, tomato for tomato soup, and it's only limited by your imagination, but everything is 1/2 cup. Unless you're using dehydrated, then I would recommend 1/4 cup. But we got those in there, right? So we've got our mix in there, we've got our dehydrated mushrooms in this case in there, and then the last thing we need to add to this is 1 cup of water. So we'll go ahead and get that in there, just like such. And then we're just gonna kick on our heat on a medium-low heat, and we're gonna start to cook this in the direction. There we go. We're gonna start to cook this until we just want to bring it to a boil. We want to activate that cornstarch that's in there so it starts to thicken. So once we get it thickening and it starts to do that plop boil, we're gonna take it off the heat. Okay, so we went ahead, we got her boiling, we got her thickening up, right? Went ahead and took her off the heat. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to transfer it to another bowl. That way I can get it out of this pan and it can cool down quicker, especially in a glass bowl. You know, glass is the best thing for, in my opinion, for cooling things down rapidly. Now, the only other way I would say this would cool down quicker, because I'll do this on occasion with pie fillings, is to use a small cookie sheet with some parchment paper or foil and pour it out over that, so you get a real thin layer. But I don't think that we need to worry about that with this one. But I mean, that's essentially what you'll want to do, and then we'll just let it cool, right? And I mean, we're gonna taste it now, because let's be honest, who hasn't had cream of whatever before you add something to it? And if you were making this into a soup, just go ahead and add more water or milk or whatever you prefer to make it with. But let's give it a try. I mean, to see if it really, tastes like that cream of mushroom, because you'll want that, right? Oh, and just like that last batch, it tastes like mushrooms. Yeah, it tastes better than any store-bought. Now, I said earlier you don't have to put the cream of chicken in it, and you don't. But I would, and this is my opinion, you could just leave it completely out. But they also make a vegetable powder that is similar to that. You put that in. Or I had read online, somebody had said that they just waited until they went to make it and added a little of better than bouillon, which was their choice and my choice of favorite bouillons. But they have a roasted veggie bouillon, they have a beef and a chicken. That way you have a little better control over it. But I'm okay with just the chicken myself. A majority of what I use is cream of mushroom, cream of potato, and cream of celery. And the cream of chicken works just fine in all of those. But you could do that with any of the above. So, and once it cools, right here's the one I made earlier. See how it jiggles like Jello? That's because it's back to being condensed, which is awesome. So it does make 1 can of cream of whatever with this ingredients list: 1/3 of a cup, 1 cup of water, and 1/2 cup of whatever you like. Unless you're using dehydrated, I would recommend, this is just a recommendation because you don't have to, you can use as much or little as you want, using only 1/4 cup of whatever you're making cream of. So that being said, give this a try. Or let me know if you already make this and I'm just behind the 8 ball. Either way, it was fun to make, and I love sharing stuff like this with you guys. And I have so many more things that I've found that I want to show you guys that I've learned about the whole dry storage process for food. It is amazing and endless. But anyhow, give us a try. Let me know if you do. You won't be disappointed. You'll never have to buy cream of mushroom soup from the store again, ever. Yeah, but anyhow, I don't know when this is going to be posted, but probably on a weekend. And if it is, I still will have no idea what we're doing for dinner or dessert. I never know those things until the day they come above and I go, what do I want to make tonight? Because I get up early enough that I can thaw out whatever and have it ready for dinner. But until then, I love you. I love you very much. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Tell somebody else you love them and love them very much. They may need to hear it. It's going to make them smile either way. It's going to make you smile and feel great to tell them that. And if you show them how to make this and maybe make them a little to take home with them, maybe give it to them as a gift or just a, hey, thanks for being a friend, they're going to thank you. I guarantee it. And that's going to lead to conversation and maybe a really good friendship. You never know. I'm about to give some to the mailman. But anyhow, I love you and I will see you next time. All right, see you later. Bye-bye.